Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, and I'm so thrilled to chat with these folks from San Diego Musical Theater. We got Gerilyn Brault. She's the director of the Prom, joined by her colleague Xavier Bush, choreographer of the Prom and the Academy director of the San Diego Musical Theater, with my co-host, Sophia Lee, who is a student filmmaker, is a great student filmmaker. She'll be doing a red carpet event coming up pretty soon. Maybe we'll get her to chat about that one of these days. So, Gerilyn or Xavier, let's get us started. You got a question for them, Sophia?
Yeah, so what's the mission of your organization?
San Diego Musical Theater is a local nonprofit theater that produces year-round musical theater, professional musical theater in Kearny Mesa. So we look to provide arts opportunities both for artists and to share that art with the community of San Diego.
So how would you define musical theater? Is that different than artistic theater or drama theater or sports theater?
We kind of have musical theater and then we have straight plays. So straight plays, normally have no singing or anything, but musical theater combines singing, acting, and dancing all at the same time to storytell.
Very, very good. When I saw this, anything with the word music in it that deals with live, those are two very positive things. It floats my boat, so to speak. I just was honored and fortunate enough to visit for the 36th time the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. As long as I'm breathing, I'm going on that aspect of it. So talk a little bit about, Gerilyn, how long have you been involved with the theater?
Sure. So I have been, I was an actor first for San Diego Musical Theater back in 2016, right out of grad school. That was one of my first shows moving back to San Diego. And so I have been an actor there and a patron there as well. And so when they asked me to hop on board to direct this show, I leapt at the opportunity.
Right. And the show is The Prom?
The show is The Prom, yes.
Talk about that.
Yes. So it's relatively unknown, but I feel like if people knew more about it, they would just fall in love with it. It is it has two storylines. So one of the storylines is based on a true event that occurred in 2010, where a girl was denied access to her school's prom because she wanted to bring her girlfriend. This took place in Mississippi. The show moved it to Indiana, where I went to grad school at Purdue University in Indiana. So
Go Boilermakers.
Go Boilermakers. Yeah. So I knew all about Indiana.
Right.
And then the other storyline that they have added to the show for extra hilarity is this idea of quote unquote aging narcissists that are actors from New York who want to stay relevant by being celebrity activists. So they go down to Indiana and try to solve homophobia.
Does it work? Or do you have to see the play, right?
You do have to see the play, but I will say what I love about this show is it tackles the heart of the messages with humor. And so I've been so excited to hear the laughter in the audience from theater goers and people who aren't in theater as well. There's something for everyone in this show. And Ryan Murphy actually fell in love with the show when it was on Broadway and made a Netflix adaptation that premiered during the pandemic. And there's this beautiful song in the piece called We Look to You, which is about patrons looking to theater and what theater can do for audiences. And I just know as a performer during the pandemic when we weren't allowed to perform, everybody just openly wept during that song. So it's just so lovely to have a show that loves theater and everything that theater does, and also is all about celebrating who you are as an individual.
Absolutely. Sophia?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't think of themselves as theater goers, or maybe they've never actually even been to a play or to a musical. And it seems kind of like a weird idea, like what people singing and dancing about their lives, like how is this relevant to me? So, can you talk about why musical theater is still relevant today and why people should try it out?
Absolutely. Musical theater is an American genre. We started it. We had definitely had influences from Gilbert and Sullivan and the opera world in Europe, but it was really started here. There's debate whether it was Showboat or Oklahoma, but basically the late 30s and the 1940s, the genre we know of as musical theater has arisen. And I think I also have a classical background in Shakespeare. And what I love about both Shakespeare and musical theater is there is a heightened sense of emotional expression. There have been studies that when audiences go to theaters, their heart rates sync up. And in musicals, their heart rates start to match the rhythm of the songs. So there is something beautiful about musical theater in a way that I think makes it a little more accessible than some other theater, because especially with this show, The Prom, the dancing and the singing is so energetic that it helps keep you engaged and entertained.
So Xavier, you're the choreographer, right? So did you come out of the womb dancing and directing and doing all these things, or was that something you learned a little bit later?
Not straight out of the womb.
Okay.
I did do performing. I started around 5 years old doing church musicals, and then from there went into the choir in middle school and high school, and from there I was lucky enough to be in a program that supported our students becoming choreographers and directors and having those opportunities as a young person. And from there, went to school for it and found San Diego Musical Theater, essentially, which is why I love our academy program at SDMT as well, and be able to give those opportunities to students like I was given.
Yeah, talk about the academy program.
Yeah, we have musical theater outreach and opportunities for grades kindergarten through adult. We teach classes, we do private voice lessons, dance classes, we put on youth productions and teen productions. Basically, anyone who wants to learn more about how to do theater or being involved in theater, we have opportunities for you.
So for those people who have 2 left feet or 3 left feet, which would be something, to be honest with you, when you work with somebody on some of these amazing, routines, I'm sure you do in all this aspect of it, are there certain people you say, you know what, this is great, but you're going to play right field today and we're going to have you over here? How do you work with people that may be a little bit challenged on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I find it's like anything. If you have the determination and the drive and you are actively wanting to learn it and putting in the work to do it, it can happen. Well, how long that takes can differ person to person, but so long as you have the heart and the drive and a teacher that is willing to put in the work with you, it can happen.
Right. Sophia, are you a dancer? Do you dance?
No.
Okay, right. Exactly. Yeah, and nor do I. I mean, unless I have enough drinks in me, and then it still wouldn't be qualifying, for that.
Well, and one of the things I love is there's so few opportunities for adults to take beginning classes in dance. I because I fell in love with musical theater when I was very young as well. I had been dancing my whole life, but I was just thinking about how hard it is to go to a beginning jazz class or a beginning ballet class, and the students aren't 4 years old. So I love that San Diego Musical Theater has this academy and is giving adult classes, because what I love about theater and dance and the arts is it's never too late to start, but sometimes it's hard to find training when you have aged out.
Right, there's no question about it. We're chatting with our friends from San Diego Musical Theater, Gerilyn Brault. She is the director of The Prom. What are the dates? When's that running?
It is running right now through June 1st.
So June 1st. Okay. So you better go ahead and get your tickets now, joined by your colleague, Xavier Bush, choreographer of The Prom and the Academy Director for the San Diego Musical Theater. I'm Drew Schlosberg. As you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 60 years of doing great things for people living in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's visual performing arts, whether it's financial literacy. They are at the top of their game, working with everybody that lives in this county, joined by my phenomenal co-host, Sophia Lee. She is a student filmmaker. I want to get back to something that you had brought up, and it's so true. We say about this, pretty much every 19 years I've been doing the show. We cannot talk enough about what theater, the visual performing arts, does for us, connecting us, making us feel good. You'll hear the show almost every single time I'm doing a show, Empathy. That's gone by the way of the dodo bird, as we said, in this. But also maybe you can start on this, Xavier, and pivot over to Gerilyn. Listen, there's nothing wrong with watching Showboat on TV or whatever, or Oklahoma, but there's nothing like live, is there? Talk about that, Xavier.
Yeah, it's such a special thing to be able to be in a room with other artists or get to experience people doing their craft live. Just getting to see and witness and just feel the energy in a room when everyone's focused on one story together. It's such a beautiful thing.
Want to add to that?
Yeah, I think we had a really rare opportunity during the pandemic when the world shut down for us to realize how much being in a room, seeing the arts matters. I think we all took that for granted in a lot of ways. But there is, there is something really magical about seeing theater live, seeing any arts live. There's an energy you can feel in the room. What I love about the space in Kearney Mesa that SDMT currently is in is you are right there with them. You can see every expression. The actors are right there. But also the actors can then feed off of the audience. I always say the audience is a final scene partner in a play, and they'll change every day. And so that's one of the exciting things as a performer in live theater is the ability to continue to grow with your artists throughout the run of the show with the audience.
Absolutely. Sophia?
Mm-hmm. So doing things live, of course, things can go wrong, and it can be very, very scary. How do you guys feel you deal with the fear, and how has theater helped you change your perception of maybe what fear is?
That's a great question.
Great. I also am a college professor of theater, and so my students always talk to me about their nerves and how nervous they get to speak in public or perform in public. And I always remind them that adrenaline is also a wanted gift. Olympic athletes still get adrenaline before the gun goes off for a relay race. So we want to welcome some of those nerves or the fear as part of your body's natural adrenaline response to show you how excited you are to do what you're doing. But I would say live theater and kind of getting over the fear of making mistakes, especially in our art form, is the ensemble. You have a team there to help you. If something goes wrong, they're not going to let you fall on your face. They're going to fall with you if they need to, but they will pick you back up.
Come back from break. I want to, chat with Xavier about it's one thing to be in a performance and you were dancing and all that, and it's one thing to be the choreographer of the performance. And have you been the choreographer of the performance that you've been performing in, and so forth? That's almost like having a director of a film that's also an actor in the film. How do you direct yourself? So in that aspect, think about that as well. And then we always save some time, Gerilyn, at the second half of the interview. What our listeners can do to support you? Obviously, go to the prom and all this, and support live theater no matter what it is, okay? And that's always good in that area. And anything else in between. We return with Gerilyn Brault. She is the director of the Prom, San Diego Musical Theater, joined by her colleague, Xavier Bush, choreographer of the Prom and the Academy director for the theater. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media. And our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 19th year, brought to you by fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. So thrilled to have in the studio with us today from San Diego Musical Theater, Gerilyn Brault, the director of The Prom. And they'll be playing through June 1. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Very good. Joined by her colleague, Xavier Bush, choreographer of The Prom and also the Academy director for the theater, joined by my co-host, Sophia Lee, that I know has a whole bunch more questions for you. But before we get to Sophia, so we talked about this. You're a choreographer for The Prom.
Yes.
Are you in it?
I am not in this
Okay,
one.
very good. So talk about when you are also the choreographer for a production and you're also in it. Is that tough to do?
That is a very tough thing to do. One that I've only done a couple of times.
Okay.
A lot of shows that I'm in, I have the pleasure of being the dance captain for the show, which is the person that kind of assists the choreographer and sees things from the actor's perspective while the choreographer's out in the house seeing it from the audience perspective. A lot of times that's an easier thing to balance, the dance captain and an actor, versus being on the outside and the inside that way.
Yeah. So I imagine, the same thing we're just talking about with the films and all that business. And of course, you're directing this now, Gerilyn. You're not in it, right?
No.
So how many performances have you been in where you've been also the director, or have you?
Luckily, I've been able to separate that because I appreciate that. Although one time in a show I was directing at Miracosta College, my lead got sick. And so I had to go on for closing. My students were so excited.
How did they judge you? How did they rate you? How did they rate you?
I remember one of my students saying, it's so surreal to be acting with my teacher.
Right.
And I think, but for me, I was shaking like a leaf.
Oh my gosh.
Remember, you went and said, but adrenaline is a good thing.
Adrenaline is a great thing.
Right. Adrenaline is a good thing. Sophia, what questions do you have?
Yeah, so with the choreography, dancing is a very passionate thing, but I think also sometimes, like, from a non-dancer's point of view, it can just be your body moving. So how do you keep the dance relevant to the story and relevant to the emotions that are going on?
That's one of my favorite aspects of theater, is being able to storytell through the movement and the dancing. And a lot of that comes from a lot of experimentation with myself in a dance studio, figuring out, okay, listening to the music, what's the story we're trying to tell? How does that physicalize in the body, both as a single person, and then how do we make that work for a group of 25 people on stage at one time that makes the audience understand what's going on and why it's important versus just impressive dancing. The dancing is very impressive in The Prom, but how do we marry
so
them both?
amazing.
Such a fun thing to figure out as an artist and create that way.
So how many people are in The Prom? How many people are doing the dance scenes? 20, 30, 40, 160?
So we have a total in the cast of 24.
Oh, my goodness.
24 actors.
Are they all dancing?
There are moments where they are all dancing, yes.
Some dance more than others, for sure.
Right. And does everyone sing?
Yes.
Okay, so all 24 sing.
Yes.
Do any of the 24... It's just like 20 questions over here. Why don't I just go and see The Prom and that'll be fun? How many of them play an instrument, or do any of them play an instrument?
I'm sure possibly.
But not during The Prom, right?
Not during the show.
There's a moment. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but there is
No
a
spoiler
moment
alerts
where
here.
instruments are used for comedic purposes. That's all I'll say.
Okay, no, very, very good. And the run goes to June 1. Okay, And where is it?
This is at San Diego Musical Theater's space in Kearny Mesa.
Okay, and what's the address? You know the address? We can always Google.
It's on Mercury Street. I do know that.
4650 Mercury Street.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very good. And then, is it playing every day? Is it just on weekends? What's the run?
So it is on weekends.
Okay.
It is Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And then Saturdays and Sundays also at 2 p.m.
So there's a matinee at as well. Okay, that sounds good. Tickets are still available, I take it?
They are, yes.
Okay, very good. And have you had any reviews on it yet?
Yes, we have had a couple reviews come out.
I haven't been reading them.
Yeah. Did Pam Craig?
She has not come yet, but we had a couple out there. Yes.
Yeah, because I think I saw an ad in the UT today.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do know I am somebody whose brain can't read the reviews while it's still happening, so I wait. But I have had some patrons respond, and I know some people saw it on Broadway and have said that our version is better.
Oh, congratulations!
So that was a big credit, and I do think part of it is the intimacy of the space that we have here versus Broadway, where you're right with the actors. It helps with this story in particular.
So yeah, Sophia.
Yeah, so with the story, it's very specific to, I think, specific communities. Oh, I said specific twice, but that's okay. So if you're not a gay person, or if you are not a former narcissistic Broadway actor, how can you find relevance in the story to you? If I don't have those experiences, do you think I would still enjoy it?
I think you would, because I think the primary purpose of this show is to celebrate who you are and take pride in who you are. I think even if you don't relate to it, I think, as you've touched on, theater has a wonderful way of teaching empathy.
Right.
And I would say this show, because it heals through humor, I think it's one of the best ways to introduce yourself to that style of empathy as well. Like if you're not a member of the queer community, you can still understand their story because it's told so beautifully in this one. But theater lover, queer person, it doesn't matter. You are going to laugh a lot in this show.
Right. But you mentioned this true story based in Mississippi, right?
Yes.
Where in Mississippi?
I do not recall off the top of my head.
I did some grad work at the University of Mississippi. The reason why I ask, in Oxford, Mississippi.
I do know it was a high school, but I can't remember exactly
what part of it.
where.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting. In that area, and of course, then you got involved because of Indiana and Lafayette and the Boilermakers and all that business. So talk a little bit more about the Academy. Is it for all ages? How does that work? How do people sign up?
Yeah, we have classes for ages from grades kindergarten through 12th grade, plus our adult classes.
Right.
And we have different levels of things. Like Gerilyn was saying, we have beginner classes, and then we also have classes that working professionals take. So we have a little bit of something for everyone, depending on where you're at in your journey, whether you're a professional theater maker or just love theater and dance and music.
Right. And so are those classes during the day? Are they at night? Are they all over the board?
Yeah, we kind of have a little bit of everything. We have classes for the winter, the spring, and the fall. And then we have our summer camps in the summer, usually on evenings and weekends. But we also have a couple of daytime, weekday classes as well. So we try to balance it out for anyone who wants to come take class. There's something in a time slot that works for them.
Right. And just go to the website to sign up. Is that the idea?
Yeah, sdmt.org/academy.
Right. So do you go to the schools themselves? If you sometimes the schools say, hey, listen, let's bring a troupe and you can come in one of the assemblies or whatever. Do you go out to them at all?
Yeah, we've actually been given a grant from the Rotary Foundation, which we have our Exploring Musical Theater program, which goes into schools and teaches them about singing, acting, and dancing through different elementary schools.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. So the prom ends on June 1. And then on June 2, are you back at it with another production? Talk about that, Gerilyn.
For myself, I get like 2 weeks off, and then I teach Shakespeare at Miracosta College in the summer.
Yeah.
And then I will also
Great school.
Yeah, and then I'll be directing Spring Awakening for Oceanside Theater Company later in the summer.
Love OCT. Now, do you know Ted Leib?
I do know Ted.
So Ted is a frequent guest on the show.
Yeah.
Okay? And right. And he's great. He does stuff for also, there's a relationship with OCT and Scripps Ranch Theater too, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So what's that play going to be?
Spring Awakening.
Okay, well, I'm sure we'll have you back on.
There we go. I can't wait to talk about that then.
Yeah, bring Ted on. How about you, Xavier? You're busy enough with the Academy and all that business.
Sure, yes.
Yeah. Are you any other choreography deals that you're doing, gigs?
I have a little bit of break on choreography, but I am in rehearsals right now for Waitress at the Moonlight in Vista. And then after the prom, SDMT is doing Matilda, and I'm in that production as an actor.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
We don't do any spoiler alerts. You want to tell us where you are in that? You don't have to.
Yeah, I play Rudolpho, and if you know the movie, he's not in that, but he's a comedic ballroom dancer, is what I'll say.
Very, very good. So, 10 years from now, okay, it is 2035, okay? My prediction is the world will be better in 2035 than it is in 2025.
Let's manifest that right now.
Exactly, 100% right now. You heard it here on the Spotlight Show, for God's sake. What are you doing in 2035?
Hopefully, my goal is always just to still be doing theater, to still be creating art and getting to do that with people I love and at a level that is so wonderful here in San Diego.
So would it be the School of Choreography by Xavier Bush? Was that what's going to happen? And then you're going to open up branches in San Diego, LA, and New York? Or?
From your lips to the universe.
We've already set up some things over there. How about you, Gerilyn, 2035?
I think I would love to find the balance I am right now where I can be educating, I can be collaborating through direction, and I love performing as well. And then hopefully by 2035, veterinary science has made it so my cats will live forever.
There you go. And one of our frequent guests is Gary Weitzman, the CEO of the Humane Society.
Well, there we go.
I will bring that up to you.
Yes, take it up with them.
To Gary. Sophia, any other questions you have? Comments?
No, that sounds like an amazing show, and I'm definitely going to come now.
Absolutely.
Yay.
We're chatting with our friends from the San Diego Musical Theater, Gerilyn Brault, the director of The Prom, playing through June 1st of San Diego Musical Theater, joined by her colleague Xavier Bush, the choreographer of the Prom and also the Academy director. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by unbelievable folks of Mission Fed Credit Union. For 60 years, they've been doing great things in our community, from food insecurity to literacy to visual performing arts and everything in between. They are just unbelievable community leaders. Again, thank you so much, Sophia Lee. Another fine job as my co-host. And to our audience, I hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.